right, so let's look at an example and let's try to identify some of the parts in this expression that are given. By the way, I didn't mention this previously, but expressions, like these are called expressions. As soon as it has an equal sign and it's equal to something, it's called an equation. So that's just one thing to be aware of. So here, what I like to do when I'm working with things is I like to separate by where the plus and minus signs are, but I always include the signs when I do that. So I might take a pen and I might circle different terms that I see, and I include the sign when I'm doing that. So now I can see that there are 4 terms here, and the terms are 3x squared. My pen is having issues, so it's not writing very effectively. 2x, negative 7, and that's supposed to be a comma, negative 8x. Sorry for the terrible writing there. Okay. Actually, maybe I will. No, I'll just leave it. Just go with my terrible writing. So remember, the sign stays with the term. So 3x squared, 2x, negative 7, and negative 8x. Those are the terms. Now the coefficients, remember a coefficient is a number in front of anything that has a variable. So in this case, 3 is a coefficient, 2 is a coefficient, and negative 8 is a coefficient. So you might then ask, well, what do you do with the negative 7? Well, remember, that doesn't have a letter. That's considered to be a constant. So the negative 7 is a constant. And then the variables are just the letters. And in this case, you have x squared and you have x. And if you want to just write that as x, because technically x squared is x times x, that's fine. I will accept x and x squared. I will accept just x. Either one is perfectly fine. Just remember again, when you're identifying your terms and your coefficients and things, you include the sign. That's where people make mistakes. Let's look at the second example. So now it's asking you to circle the variables. So you're looking for anywhere there is a letter. So we're going to pull this tab, whoops. We're going to pull this tab across, and we're going to see there are our letters. X squared, x and y, x and z cubed. Now coefficients, remember coefficients are the numbers in front of things that have variables. Also remember the sign is included. So when you see this minus 5x, that means the coefficient will be negative 5. So let's have a look at that one. We're going to pull that across. Our coefficients are 3, negative 5, and 4. And you might be wondering, do you have to write plus 4? No. So you can just write 4, but if it's negative, you do have to write that negative sign. And then the last one, what are the constants? So remember, a constant is a term that has no letter attached to it. And again, you include the sign. So in this case, if we pull that across, our constants are negative 4, be careful, and 9. Okay, so that's just a little bit of review. Now we're going to complete this chart. And again, it's going to be a bit of a disaster, I think, with my pen, but I'm going to give it a try. So here, the terms. Remember, terms are separated by plus or minus signs. So I've got negative 2x squared. I've got 5x, and I've got negative 8. Those are all terms. The variables are x squared and x, or if you prefer, you could just write x. In this case, the constant, the thing that doesn't have a letter, is negative 8. Be careful. Do you think it would be negative? And the coefficients are negative 2 and 5. Remember, they're the things that are attached with a letter. In the second example, there are 2 terms. There is a 3y and a 4. Variable is y. The constant is 4. And in this case, there's only one coefficient, 3. By the way, your constants and your coefficients together should equal how many terms you have. So that's a way to check your work. This last one is kind of tricky because there's lots of letters, But notice there are no plus or minus signs. That means there's only one term. This 3ABC, that's it. That's the term. The variables are A, B, and C. Now in this case, there is no constant. You have two options when there's no constant. You can put 0, or you can put none, or you can put an X through. I guess you have three options then. Don't leave it blank, because that will make your teacher think you don't know. So you can say 0, which technically is probably the best answer. 0 is the best answer, or none. And then the coefficient, there's one coefficient. It is -3.